Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today for Mingle Mastermind. And the topic today is how fashion tech is going to help designers cut waste in the fashion industry. And I'm super excited about our panel today because we have so many really smart people who are going to be helping me understand all of this, as well as hopefully helping you understand how fashion tech is changing the fashion industry and actually is going to solve a lot of problems with our sustainability issues. So I want to start off welcoming our regular panelists. We've got Catherine Schuler. How are you today, Catherine?
I'm on the go, Melissa, but I would not miss this mastermind because it's near and dear to me. The mastermind and you and Fashion Mingle and this topic. So I am looking for venues in the city for my show in September. So I'm up at Lincoln Center in Columbus Circle, and then I'm going to a few downtown. But yeah, I'm hitting the pavements. You know, I got to see the space. There's only so much you can check out online virtually, but I really want to add this element into what we offer to the designers and to the audience even. So it's a way to connect everybody to the merchandise. And Melissa and I have always said that we have to serve the designers and we have to get them sold. We have to get their stuff so that everybody wants to buy it. And when it's done with the avatars, it's so much more accurate and there's so much less waste. And it's a whole nother push that we're aiming for now. So thanks for doing this topic, Melissa. I wouldn't miss it.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to be on the panel when you've got so many appointments today. So feel free to clock out whenever you need to. We really appreciate your input on this.
I'll be in touch with everybody.
Wonderful. And we also have Sharon Movahead from Rockamova Law, our resident fashion and business attorney. Hi, Sharon. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Melissa. Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. And I'm as Melissa mentioned, I am the founder of Rockamova Law, a branding law firm, taking you from start to finish, building, growing, and protecting your brand legacy. And today I'm excited to hear from our fashion experts on incorporating technological advancements, which I really do think that for any business that wants to grow, especially now in the face of all these challenges we've had during the pandemic, as well as, you know, looking to do things better. This is definitely the one to watch, and hopefully we'll all be able to take away something that we can incorporate into our business.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. And Adele Noel is going to try to pop in today as well. She is the owner of True Model Management, who is using fashion technology in her own business. And I know Sharon has been working with her on some things in fashion tech. And so if Dale's on her way to the airport, she's going to try to get on. But if she can't, I'm sure Sharon will be able to tell us, give us some insight into how those types of issues are cropping up that, you know, have a legal angle to them. So let's get to our guests. I'm so thrilled to have Samuel Alexander back with us again. Samuel's been on our mastermind in the past, and he's from Austin, which means I have a soft spot in my heart for him, because that's where I came up with the idea for Fashion Mingle after living there for 20 years. So hello, Samuel.
Hello. Good to see everyone again. I'm kind of excited about the show today, and I wanted to thank Melissa for all of her work that she's done to create this collective consciousness, because we all need this foundation right now to start rebuilding this industry. And the great thing about it is we have the opportunity now to make it a sustainable industry, which is what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, and that's very exciting. And, you know, Samuel's got such an amazing background because he's worked for all the major, you know, corporations in fashion. So he's seen it from the highest level of the corporate side, but he also is very active in Austin, educating the next generation of fashion professionals with a lot of involvement in the schools down there. So we really appreciate the time that you devote to making the fashion industry better for the future.
Thank you, Melissa.
Okay, so we have O, and O, please pronounce your last name for us.
Tepmongkol. Yeah.
Tepmongkol-Wheaton. Okay.
Wheaton, yeah.
Oh, Tepmongkol-Wheaton. Okay, wonderful. Well, O and I met just several months ago. She was actually a referral from Randy Seif, who has been on Mastermind many times and is a wonderful branding expert in the fashion industry. And O has some amazing technology, and so we're just super excited to have you. So you can. I was amazed at what she was showing me, and she's going to debut it today as well for our Fashion Meeting audience. Some of the cool tools that she has available for 3D and virtual experiences for designers.
Thank you for having me. Yeah. Today we're gonna also, world premiere our upcycle.
Okay.
Products, which is a configurator for upcycle.
That's awesome. Well, and O is out in Silicon Valley, so she's got her fingers on all of the latest changes in the tech industry, just like Samuel is in Austin. You guys are from two of the hottest tech hubs in the world.
I laugh at my friends when they move to Austin. All the tech companies are moving to Austin, right? And they got that whole month.
Yeah.
I go, nah.
Yeah. I know some tech people that moved from Silicon Valley to Austin in January, and they turned right back around and hightailed it back to Silicon Valley in February because of the running out of electricity and water.
Right. No, I mean, because they are making a big news. You know how the big corporations are moving. Yeah, that's right.
Elon Musk said he's going to fix all that for us.
Yeah, well, I hope, Samuel, you survived that without too much pain.
That was for 2 days of the worst days of my life. I can tell you that I've been in Montreal in the wintertime with 60-degree below weather. If I'd have gone a third day, I probably wouldn't be here talking to you right now. It was miserable.
I just can't. My daughter and granddaughter live in Austin, and they got extremely lucky because they had a friend who had an apartment across the street from a warming center. So they never lost electricity or water, but she was out of her apartment for 2 weeks because, and it's still a mess. So anyway, but Jennifer, I want to welcome Jennifer. Jennifer just became a VIP member, and we were so thrilled because we wanted to pull her in on this mastermind because her background is perfect to discuss sustainability and textile design. So Jennifer, welcome to Mingle Mastermind.
Thank you. Thanks for the introduction. I'm happy to be a part of this and contribute what I can. I work as a textile consultant for material development, focused on performance materials and sustainable materials. So making sure that we're validating sustainability claims and that products are really what the manufacturers claim that they are. So yeah, I'm excited to be a part of this conversation. Thanks so much.
Thanks for joining us. And we have Dee. It looks like we don't have Dee on video or audio. Dee, can
you hear me, Melissa?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hi, everybody. I have really bad allergies. I look like Shrek today. So I'm just going to have to put this picture. Sorry. I know that's vanity, but it's great to be here. I'm excited to hear. I've been talking to O a lot. She reached out to me, and we're including her technology in Hamptons Fashion Week and Times Square Fashion Week. So Melissa, thank you for having her in your Fashion Mingle because she's like a genius. Like, I'm just so in awe of what she's able to do.
That's exciting. I'm so thrilled to hear that. So to our attendees, feel free to put your questions in the chat. We're going to start off with a couple of presentations so that you guys can get an understanding of what the big picture is. And so the key things that we're going to try to cover today and learn are how 3D technology minimizes waste, how virtual samples can be a cost-effective, sustainable solution, what is the Internet of Things and how designers can easily create smart products, why blockchain technology makes it easier to create a sustainable supply chain, and how artificial intelligence is impacting the workplace. So Samuel, would you like to share your screen and do your presentation first?
Sure, thank you, Melissa. Hello, everyone. Sam Alexander down in Austin, Texas. Hope everyone is staying well and safe. I want to thank Melissa for having and putting this project together, because I think that this is a needed effort for the community as a whole. Today's conversation I'll start off with and kind of begin with the disruptive fashion and technology transformation tools. There's 5 tools that we see that are going to make the major changes in the fashion industry. The number one thing is the Internet of Things, which is your IoT robotics and IoT fashion. Then you have AI, which is artificial intelligence, which includes 3D bots, and then intelligent automation, plus your avatars. Blockchain, and then which is your digital transformation, augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality. And the 5th one is 3D printing. The key to what we're talking about today is the Internet of Things will connect everything, blockchain will democratize everything, and AI will solve all of our problems. What we're looking at is in the implementation of artificial intelligence is we're using it for market intelligence, trend predictions, robotic and clothing production, product customization, customer service, quality control, design and buying, chain inventory management, AI personal assistant 3D bots, and then the main one is avatar fit for personal shopping. The blockchain technology, we're using it for transparency in the supply chain, intelligent intellectual property management, product authentication, real-time inventory visibility, blockchain factoring and finance, blockchain contracts and documents, decentralization, and peer-to-peer integration. We're also using it for cryptocurrency. Just to give you an idea of some of the things that we're doing with 3D, as you already can see, and then we're using avatars for marketing.
And technology. The global digital fashion and technology ecosystem. C2.
So that's just what we're looking at as a company. C2C Fashion and Technology is we're designing out waste and leveraging, oops, sorry about that. We're designing out waste and leveraging the products for the life cycle approach to environmental responsibility. The products that we're making will be made, designed, and are reused for more of a circular economy. The main paradigm shift affecting the fashion is the reshoring of our industry for emerging a sustainable concept of a combination of smart factories, smart networks, and smart product. Our focus is environmental sustainability, and our belief is that we must take care of the environment and wisely and effectively so that the resources are never exhausted. We're passionate about energy, carbon, and water waste. This is our global ecosystem that we've developed. And basically what we work from is a digital fashion and technology ecosystem. The global decentralization collaboration is a connectivity. Basically, instead of siloed, it's all decentralized collaboration. The global digital fashion and technology ecosystem is a group of products that we've developed to give everybody connectivity globally so that they can actually run their whole business from one platform. Then we've looked at how we need to decentralize the industry. We're working factory to consumer, factory to retailer, and then factory to manufacturer, which we're cutting out all the middleman, but we're not eliminating anyone. We're just making a more efficient way of doing business. We have smart products, smart networks, smart factories, interactive shopping, personal bot assistants, interactive digital marketing, and then virtual offices. Our 3 basic foundations of technologies that we built on top of is blockchain, artificial intelligence, and I can't see the 3rd one. My mind just went blank, but I'm sure you can see it there. Okay, so here's where we basically are starting off with our first factory. We're starting from the factory and coming back to the consumer. And we're working first with our first factory is a made-to-measure factory out of China. We have basically set up technology which is able to business to be more sustainable and create more profit with a higher quality product. The people that can use our technology are retailers for their private label for their stores with custom designs and small runs. We can also, manufacturers and designers can use our incorporated into our ecosystem and use our factories. And then the consumer can use our systems to make custom clothing. So we have the ability, we've broken all the middlemen out, but we've given everybody that opportunity to be in it. My factories in China are working and developing sustainable fabrics and all types of new eco-friendly products for production within the system. So this is phase one. We have 9 other factories behind this that'll be after this that we're going to put online. So we'll have 10 factories by the end of the year online. This is what our first factory looked like. As you can see, it's robotics. We've got laser cutting machines. Everything is state-of-the-art technology. There's over 300 workers in this factory, but because of us cutting the middleman out, we're able to pay the workers 20% higher wages than anywhere else in the industry. This is a new technology that we're going to introduce for the fall. What we're doing to go to the consumer is this new sensor. We were doing a magic mirror, but that's old technology now. This new sensor will be a product that you can buy and attach to any smart TV, and it turns that TV into interactive TV. You'll be able to do body tracking. You'll be able to do 3D scanning. For the retailers, they'll be able to do facial recognition, people counting, shelf analytics, inventory monitoring, interactive showcasing, data analytics, and forecasting trends. You'll have augmented virtual reality and mixed reality. Then for the home, they'll also be able to monitor patients and do rehabilitation in the homes. So you've got a 3D scanner, you got retail, automation, healthcare, robotic vision, and smart buildings. So all your smart components in IoT will be connected through this also. This particular sensor has a HoloLens in it. So we also will be able to do mixed reality, which is the next trend that you're going to see more of, is the mixed reality immersive type shopping and presentations. This is what we see the future of retail. We don't think that retail will ever go away. It just will be reinvented. And what we see is your artificial intelligence shopping. We have actually artificial intelligence that are assistant bots for the shoppers that will actually you can scan yourself in a mirror or with your phone, and it will go through the shop and pull all the components that you would look for based on your sizing and analytics from your avatar. We have an augmented reality trial on mirror, mixed reality shopping, where you can actually use your phone to shop and get descriptions and products in the store based on your QR codes. Augmented reality shopping with your glasses, so you can have glasses at home and actually wear them and shop within your home. And then we also are working with mostly made-to-measure clothing, which it will cut out all the excess overproduction in our industry going forward. And then the last phase of it is interactive digital marketing. Everything that we do will be interactive. You'll be able to have hotspots in all of the products or any television program from movies to TVs, and be able to click on and find those products online in our stores. So that's pretty much it, but I just want to kind of summarize in the conclusion here. Basically what we're looking at is the new custom made-to-measure fast fashion will give fast fashion a new concept of design and manufacturing and distribution. Fashion will become more of a functionality, customization, and longevity. Fashion will become more of a physical need than a mental anxiety. New fabrics and sensor technology will become the focus. Technology will give the consumer the ability to be individualized in a quality of life. The Internet of Things will become the Internet of everything, because the only thing that will have value is the things that cannot be connected with, which is your instinctive creativity. A new focus is a circular economy for sustainability. AI is the new influencer. Artificial intelligence analytics answers questions before the consumer even knows what they are. Everyone will realize that data is the new currency. The consumer will interact from the time of conception to the end of the life cycle of a product with complete transparency for sustainability. The new technology will increase the aggregate efficiency of usage of raw materials, and that's the main thing that we're looking for, is how do we increase our aggregate efficiency of raw materials? Because with China, Africa, and India utilizing raw materials to the point that we're going to run out of raw materials. Right now, the highest aggregate efficiency of usage is at 15%, which is Japan. Germany is at 14.5%, and America is at 14%. So we have another 20% usage in raw materials through circular economy for sustainability, that we can actually start utilizing our raw materials better. Pretty much that's the summarization. Right now, I think that if we look at this industry and see it as an advantage versus a disadvantage, because it has completely been disrupted. If you look at from the major stores all the way across to the small, especially stores, the disruption, we've had 42,000 retailers go out of business. But on the other side of it, it's opened up a vacuum for new ideas and new creativity. So right now we have a white canvas that we can build a complete new industry, but this time we can make it sustainable. Melissa, thank you. Thank everyone for coming. I appreciate the time.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. That was fascinating. It felt like watching your presentation that the future is actually here. It's not coming. And we've got some major changes happening in the near future about how we shop and how everything functions.
Everything I showed you is not what we're talking about. It's ready to go. I'm not even talking about the aspect that you'll be buying real estate in the virtual world shortly. You'll be buying virtual clothing shortly. We have all that on the next go around, and it's already started.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Well, thank you so much. So let's go to O. And O, would you like to present to us and also debut some of your technology? I got to see some of it already, and so I'm looking forward to you sharing that.
Samuel is showing us the big picture and what's coming. It's like watching Star Trek, right? I mean,
yeah,
even for a technologist like me, right, it's overwhelming, right? So I'm gonna basically take it down a notch and talk about you as a fashion designer can do to be sustainable. Because, you know, to be honest, right, being sustainable is expensive. Like, you know, you shop at Whole Foods and that's whole paycheck. Right. So, so being organic is expensive, but how do we, as a fashion designer who can't afford all these 3D front end and all these 3D equipment, you know, and all this technology that's coming online, you can't go out there and go, I'm going to do augmented world 2021, you know, like Balenciaga and throw $1 million at it. Right. As you as a individual designer, as a small, medium brands, what can you do? Right. So I'm going to show you the way that Ohzone approach things, because we are here for the underdog. We're here for you as a, what can you do today, you know, that you would change the way to participate in a new economy and new 3D. So we want to show you what virtual sample is. And for us, basically our virtual sample is, you know, after the 3D design front end process that, you know, the conventional wisdom would tell you that you would go with 3D design, 3D CAD tool. You got to learn all that CAD and all that frustration with your computer, learn how to design, and then of all of that, you might spend, you know, 3 days figuring out how to output a file, you know, because all of these things require you to be technology savvy, or you have to hire someone who is technology savvy to work with you. But for us, we design a process that actually conventional complementary to the 3D CAD front end. We took over after the first physical samples. And what we have here is what we call it 3D photorealistic technology. I built this myself from Home Depot department. You can see it in, this is the world first 3D scanner. So it basically, you put the clothes in there. We took a snapshot. Within 15 minutes, I create a 3D virtual garment from real garment, from your real garment. So now I convert, you know, physical garment to real garment. So from this, then you can do, you know, what Samuel is saying is that you can do, you know, all the virtual try-on, augmented reality. This is just a 3D asset, you know, which is what everybody is talking about now is MFT, but we can talk about MFT a little bit later.
Can you share your screen? And
yeah, let me share the screen.
Yeah, because I think you were describing something that was on your computer, right?
Sort of. Let me see if I can go to this screen. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. So what we have here is the, where we take, where our 3D photorealistic is true to life experience of your clothes, that you can actually, replace the physical 75% of the physical sample. And we talk about sustainability and samples. Sample size, sample market is about 25% of the total $1.4 trillion market. So there's a lot of samples that actually not seeing the shelf. And what I'm showing you here is actually a shirt that we are actually one of our real customer. We create the silhouette of the shirt in 3D using the machine behind me below. But these of the fabric side, fabric swatches or fabric here or textile, it's actually virtually made. So when you can zoom in, you can see the pattern of the fabric, see the button, see the, see what it looks like. And these are all virtual samples. So you don't have to make these, unless it was ordered. So you as a wholesaler, you can basically have variety of fabrics available and basically sell white label, or manufacturer sell white label of a style and sizes, but you don't have to make any of these samples until it was ordered or the buyer wanted to get basically a final run. So I want to show you what it looks like. This is our 3D line sheet. This is for wholesale. So basically you could, create a virtual line sheet that you can communicate the visual and the products of your dress, where you can, zoom in and rotate and even see the detail of the zipper, so that you could communicate how exquisite and the workmanship of what you do. So our next screen here is basically just showing what it looks like in Shopify. None of these shirts are actually real shirts. They're all virtual shirts. And what our customer did was that she sent us 3 type of shirts, 3 silhouettes, and she sent so this is the shirt now. You can zoom in infinite detail what the shirt looked like, and even see the label that was put on. This is like 100% zoom of what the shirt looked like. Right. So she sent us 160 swatches here, and we from 3 shirts we create 480 samples shirts that is not real shirts. So these can become a digital asset or MFT. That's what I guess everyone is talking about now, which is a digital asset version of it. So this is the premiere that I wanted to show you. One of our customers are doing custom remake. She basically took an old pair of jeans. I think this is one of the design that out of copyrighted, I believe. And this is the original jean that has floral patches, but she used the upcycle material, like old pair of jeans, fabric swatches that she got from samples. And basically she makes a configuration tool, and this is what we made with her. So you can design your own configuration about what kind of fabric of upcycle materials that you want to use, and create your own made to order. And the customers can actually try this on, and this is what it really looks like in real life. So this is true to life experience. So and of course we generate a link, and so she could copy this basically linked and embed it to all her website, so her customer can have a real-time experience of configuring her her design, your own design. Yeah.
That's fascinating. And those are really cute jeans.
Oh, thank you. I want to, one last thing I wanted to share, we talk a lot about virtual sample and what it costs and sustainability, but I'm not sure whether you guys have seen what the number looks like. So this is going to be really fascinating, because I actually sat down, being a number person that I am. calculate what is a sample cost and what it does. So in this slide here, it just show you a typical small fashion brand. You basically produce 10 styles with 4 colorways per style. So you make you have about 160 SKU per year for 4 seasons. So if you were to make samples like the way that we traditionally do it, you would basically use 900,000 liters of water, and that's roughly provide fresh water. That amount of water actually can feed 180 people in India for 1 whole year. Right? That's fascinating.
That is,
right. And then if you actually if you actually use virtual samples, even this is before the 3D, this is after the 3D CAD, and you reduce your sample waste, you would at least provide water for 150 people for a whole year.
Yeah, that is amazing.
And not to mention electricity or any other things, or shipping or any of those things. But when you put the number to it, and you're going like, wow,
yeah,
do I want to continue with this?
Yeah.
Right.
Thanks so much for sharing that. That was your technology looks really amazing. It's so cool that you're already providing these solutions to designers. And it definitely gives us something to think about. If we can, how easy is it? I mean, from a designer, like you mentioned, most designers have limited funds, limited team. How easy is it to enter into doing the virtual samples?
Very, very easy. What our client here that does this pair of jeans, she actually just sent us the jeans. So this pair of jeans, and we did the rest. So
Okay.
so our turnaround time is about a week.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, so basically she put it in a box and mailed it to us, and then she got a link back, and she just embedded in her website, and she can basically preview and do all the promotion. I mean, being a well, I feel for you guys. Being a fashion designer these days is really tough. You got to be an influencer. You got to be tech savvy. You got to learn more about production. You got to learn how to, save costs and all of this work, right? And networking on Clubhouse is another thing you have to do.
Yeah, now you got more things to do.
Right? I'm like, dang, that's another. And I have an Android, okay? So I've been discriminated against, and
no, you're available now. You can join.
I have to find somebody who have Android that's on Clubhouse to invite me.
Okay, that's
so
nice.
like people have said, can you go buy iPhone? I'm like, that's really unfair. but so
can you do that from a sketch too, not just a sample?
No, from a sketch, you have to basically go to the 3D CAD route, because with a sketch, there's a lot of computation that you have to do, which is we call draping, right? So my approach of doing this is for people who actually basically wanted to know how to make clothes, like you know how to use your hand and know how to make clothes a traditional way, and what you wanted, right? But you can actually, I can use sew by sample. Like if you can sew one together, with the fabric you want, we can actually substitute all the different fabric for you.
Got it.
Yeah.
Wow, it's amazing. Well, let's turn now to Jennifer, because Jennifer has actually been working with validating sustainability claims of mills and factories, which I'm really fascinated about how that works. So give us an example of like what your typical client is, Jennifer, and all the different parts of the supply chain process that you work with.
Yeah, so I can actually give you a very recent example of a client that I'm working with who does handbags. She's based up in San Francisco area. And we were actually just talking about this last tonight, how do we differentiate that brand from all the other, you know, quote unquote sustainable brands out there? So, you know, she has this, the organic cotton and recycled polyester, and that's kind of easy at this point. Everybody's, you know, kind of jumping on that. But now we're looking at how can we really achieve circularity or some part of circularity so that can really be set apart. So her product can be set apart from everything else that's out there. And then we're talking about how we can benchmark. So that's something, you know, O was talking about, you know, looking at the numbers, and I like the numbers too, because it's quantifiable and you can really stand on that. It's just too easy these days for people to say like, oh, we're sustainable. I've even had clients say, I want to be 100% sustainable. And I say, well, what does that mean to you? Because I mean, it doesn't really have meaning. So we're looking at everything from what is the yarn? What is it made of? It's a cotton polyester blend. And then how was the cotton grown? Where was it grown? She bought the textile in the United States, but did the cotton come from India or China? So we got to look at the CO2 footprint. Then she actually bought the material in the United States and shipped it back to China for production. So now we're looking, you know, again at the CO2, getting that air freighted back over, and just kind of going through all of like step by step, really dissecting every single component and saying like, where did this come from? Like putting a question next to everything, and then going to the suppliers and saying, where did this come from? Where did you get it? Okay, you got it from this supplier. Where did they get it? And digging further and further and further. There's a lot of pushback with mills, and you know, we just try to get as much as we can. And this was something when I was in grad school researching this, and I did some interviews with Patagonia, and even they were saying like, sometimes we get half filled out documents where we're trying to trace where everything comes from. So, and trying to really track that footprint. So if you have a brand like that, and granted that was years ago, but if they were struggling, then these new brands and these startups are really, you know, going to have a hard time. But it just comes down to, what can you quantify? What can you put out there? What message can you send in that way that is legitimate, and you have the information to back it up, and just instead of just saying like, oh, we're sustainable. So yeah, it's really having some tough conversations with the mills and really digging into what they're offering. A lot of times they'll just say, oh, we have, you know, we have the certificate. And
Right.
they'll even send you a certificate, and it might be, it could be forged. It's easy to make a new PDF. Like that,
It doesn't surprise me at all.
I you know, yeah, I don't, I mean, when I get the chance, I'll you know, comment on that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just really digging into that, because I think a lot of people, you know, on the surface, they might say like, oh, okay, I got the certificate, it's good. And it's, no, you've got to like validate. That means if it's a GOTS certificate, then going back to GOTS and validating that, and, or, you know, if it's a recycled polyester, how do we validate it? Where's the tracker? So just asking a lot of those questions, and then even getting into the social sustainability aspect, because now we have a lot happening in Asia where, you know, we're talking about slave labor, and we're looking at Myanmar, like, it's really have to ask those questions and get some type of valid response. And aside from traveling there, that's the best you can do from
Well,
behind.
that's very dangerous to go there, but
Right, exactly.
Thailand, but yeah, that's right. But the it's, yeah, I mean,
So we don't yet have any kind of governing agency or any kind of authoritative organization that validates everybody. Is it, because you're saying like these forms could be forged, so there's obviously no oversight, or is it a patchwork?
It's, so I think it's kind of a patchwork. There are overarching organizations and certifications that kind of manage these things and can, you know, track footprints and things like that. There's multiple, so we're not all speaking exactly the same language, and you have to be a part of their database, or so there are things out there. But even the certification, I think that these organizations in the beginning didn't even anticipate that this would be an issue, right? You just want to maybe assume that people are going to be honest, or but when it comes to the dollar, and when it comes to like, this is orders, this is my livelihood, this is, you know, mills and factories, yes, 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 and then they figure it out later. So now I'm actually reading more and learning like how it has become an issue, but those certifying bodies are doing, like, they're combating it right now. So it is something that's in the works, and they'll figure it out. There are companies that, for their yarn, within the extruded fiber, they will have markers, and you can only see it under essentially a microscope. And so that's how they can validate, yes, that is my yarn, that, you know, I sold this yarn to this textile mill, and now the textile mill is saying, yes, this is recycled polyester. And I could send that to a third party and they could say, yes, it has that marker.
Is that what the blockchain is doing?
It right. It's a traceability, right? But I mean, you know, actually, someone sent me to, you know, if you want to claim sustainability, you got to go to these governing bodies. I think there's one that started in San Francisco, and there's B Corp, or I think there's another one in San Francisco that started. And these governing body, they were just a standard, you know, I mean, they're tracing some, but it's, I want to say that these are certification of things that people can get around to it, because they highly depend on how you audit yourself. And as a small company, it's very hard for you to, you know, dedicate one person to audit your, you know, I mean, you know, who do you have? I have me and, my kids who's sewing. I don't know. I'm just kidding. But
No,
but you know, who's gonna
wonderful.
do auditing and cost $1,000 to $2,000 to belong, right? But I wanted to say that these perhaps could fool the baby boomers, but you cannot fool Gen Z. These kids are very smart. They call bullshit when they see one, you know. So you have to basically trace. Like, for example, I was at Fashion Tech Sustainability Summit, and there was a company in San Francisco that does, I won't name who they are, that does mushroom leather, right? And they said they're sustainable. But, you know, someone was in the audience, asked them, oh, well, you know, mushroom leather, it seems like it's sustainable. You don't use cow and all that stuff, right? But they asked how many chemical you use to get the leather out of mushroom. And like, you know, you either choose to kill salmon or, you know, kill cows, whichever one you want to, you know, just pick your poison. Right? So these things has to be kind of be, you know, careful. I mean, I am on a sustainability side. I'm on the side of the, you know, philosophy of what Native American do, which mean if you're gonna kill a cow, please use everything you can from that cow you kill. Make sure that everything was done. So some of the byproduct, I would say, like polyester of petroleum, I think is okay. Because if you're going to use the car and there's petroleum there, there's some byproduct that you can use, right? I mean, it's you got to be kind of, it's hard to wait and not jump on the bandwagon to know what it is. And I think that in some way, like, for example, that's why I felt that for a small fashion brand, it's for you guys to keep the big brand honest. I mean, you know, in the 2000, or, you know, maybe about 15 years ago, if you want to know where slave labor is happening, please follow Nike, where Mr. Knight is going. That's where slave labor is. That's not hard to find, right? But now, you know, because of all the smaller brand brought the spotlighting into it, right? That's where things are happening. And so, people are, since I'm from Thailand, in a third world country, you know, the slave labor, unfortunately, we're in a Women History Month, are all abusive of children and women,
Mhm.
right? And then and then then we're hit directly as female, and yeah, of all these abuses, and all the women there are just trying to survive.
Right.
So I don't want to go on a soapbox.
Well, no, but I think that's an important component, and that makes me want to go over to Sharon, because you deal with the contracts that a designer might be making with a mill or a factory, and the human side of it is the working conditions is just as important as the sustainability verification. How would you address that and help a company make sure that their values are being represented at the company that they hire?
Thanks, Melissa. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as Jennifer and O have mentioned, there are third-party certificates that a business can try to obtain to, validate their sustainability missions and sort of differentiate themselves in the market. And of course, you can get into those agreements, whether those terms, those requirements are in those contractual agreements with the mills or the factories that are working with the brand. That's one issue. But as Jennifer highlighted, what about who's going to follow up and confirm that those contractual obligations are met? And we don't necessarily have a governing body over these issues, even if they have been met. How do they get confirmed? And that's where you kind of go back to, who's in charge. And of course, if you're a brand in the US, you're going to have to follow by, US laws. And right now, I spoke with Hilary Jochmans of Politically in Fashion earlier this week on Clubhouse. And we were talking exactly about this issue. Who is going to control and make sure that there's a check and balance as to not just the company, marketing their sustainability practices, but in reality, what is actually happening? So the Green Guides, which is the initiative, that is what guides currently, the practices of sustainability and what it's defined as. What does that mean? So those haven't been updated since 2012, and of course, Hillary's at the forefront of this movement. And
Sharon, she's gonna be on in April to talk about the Green Guides.
Good. That's amazing, because that's what we need. We need to have a governing body. We need to know as consumers what we should be expecting from businesses, but also as businesses, what should we be advertising? What sort of standards do we have? And then going back to those manufacturers to make sure that those standards are not only in the contracts, but they're somewhere validated and adhered to. And of course, on a global scale, that's going to take a significant time, because of course, even if we do something in the US, if the manufacturer or mill is overseas, how do we implement that? Well, that can be done through treaties, of course. So this is just sort of taking it to a larger scale, but just as a cautionary tale to any business that is doing, trying to have sustainable practices in terms of the labor laws, making sure those are, that no one's getting abused in the system, in the process. We want to make sure that those are put into the contracts. And if a mill is not willing to do that, then clearly you have your answer. You don't want to be working with someone who's not willing to put that on in writing.
Okay, that is such great advice, and I love that you're like, you're not. I think that's what's helpful about having an attorney help with negotiations like that, because you know where to draw the line and be able to tell the designer you're not getting what your expectations are.
I think that we should just put cameras on those factories and then let the kids watch them.
Let all those Gen Z kids point
They
out.
do, right? They do, right? This
I
whole
love
Me
that.
Too business, right? They're all,
Yeah.
sitting at home watching. You go, hey, I saw you slap that kid. Not
That-
sustainable.
Oh, I actually have a question for you as well. Just to go back to your technology, which of course I am incredibly fascinated by. Could you tell us a little bit more about, I don't know how far you are along in it, but are they, if a brand wants to utilize your technology, is there going to be a usage fee where, who retains those assets? Do you retain a copy? Is it licensing? Can you give us a little bit more detail on your technology?
Actually, we have several different ways of monetizing the 3D models, right? So basically, the 3D model belongs to the designer, but because of the way that the technology, because we provide end-to-end, we actually basically would you would license our 3D viewer, which is embedded viewer, so that you can view the 3D and interactive with the models. But if you want the viewer of our platform to get off of our platform, we charge a handling fee. Basically, you can take it, but then you may not be able to take advantage of a certain technology or a certain optimization that we did that is tightly integrated into our viewer, right? And then you can also resell this model. For example, if you were a wholesaler, like I showed you the shirt company, you can actually resell your 3D shirt and gave it to a retailer. And they can actually customize it with 3D avatar, change the scene, and we call that experiential e-commerce. And they can the wholesaler can monetize by reselling the 3D model, which can be customized to different retailer. And then so there are two portions, which is the onboarding fee that we charge, the monthly fee for just the upkeep of the 3D viewer, and we charge a small transaction fee when you want the retailer like Macy to copy and paste that link and put it on their website. And we are building a what do we call it, a marketplace or customization platform where you can log into our platform, and you can configure the background, the avatar that you're going to use, whether it's African American ethnicity, and then you can actually configure the animation. I haven't shown that. Let me see here. Do I have that up? Um, I want to show that was
If you want to
basically.
take a minute to find that, then
Okay,
we'll let
go ahead.
Samuel chime in.
Yeah, go ahead. Samuel, you muted.
I know I'm trying to unmute. There we go. Got it. My little mouse wasn't working there. Always right on target for what we see happening in the marketplace. And basically what we're doing already with the factory is we have a application on your phone that you can actually create your own avatar with, and it'll also do your fit avatar for you. So once you scan yourself in front and side, it actually creates an avatar using artificial intelligence. So the key is fit right now. Is what we're looking at, is how to really perfect the fit from the scan and not have to do a physical fitting. The avatar, as always said, is going to become a major part of what we're going to be dealing with in the future, but your personal avatar will become interactive.
And speaking of avatars, I just want to mention that Dale and I, of course, Dale is the CEO of True Model Management, has been working with her models to get the avatars. And I do think that is definitely the future of this technology. Of course, it goes hand in hand. So it's interesting you brought that up.
So I just share my screen. Do you guys see it?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So this is what we call a new experiential e-commerce concept that we're doing we're actually specialized in real-time interactive without any VR or AR headset. so you're seeing here, Steve, we call him Steve. He's waiting for a train, and our customer here actually is actually the bag company. So in this 20-second animation here, we show you what the bag looks like, and how big the bag is compared to Steve, and what the weight of the bag is because he's swinging the bag. So all of this 20-second, we communicate with you, the basically the branding, the experience, and who your target customer is, and he's a commuter, and you can change his basically background into a different scene. Let me see here. I'll show you one that we did for a fur coat. He's here wearing a fur coat and he's out in the snow. This is one of our customer, and his friend left him, because he was just being rude, hey, but so you can see the fur here. You can even almost feel like, that's how close you can get. And he's standing out, and then you can see his shadow, and you can, put a different scene. So eventually you can go and, generate these experiential branding and put it on your website, and then your retailer could also do the same thing, like, fitting the Macy's scene or put a couple of these together. But all of these is happening in real time with web VR. Yeah, they call it web VR, but yeah.
Well, I want to bring Dee in before we close, because I just, knowing Dee, I think Dee has had a million ideas, just bam, 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 as she's been watching this. Am I right?
Yeah. So yes, and as I have a notebook of all my quote unquote future patents. Some of them have already been on Shark Tank. So, but I have.
How many domain names did you think of today?
I own about 275 domains.
Wow. So maybe I have to buy one from you, huh? You're those guys who said 50,000.
Yes, if you can't get your domain, Dee is the first person to check it.
But yeah, so what I love about these technologies that, and especially what O is showing, is that I think this is so perfect for Fashion Week and for what, the next level, because Fashion Week is evolving, changing, and people need to experience fashion in different ways. So I'm implementing some of this technology into Hamptons Fashion Week and Times Square Fashion Week.
So can you give us like a little tidbit? I know that you probably haven't got it all ready to be released, but I'm very curious.
I know there's a lot of fashion people on here, so
you want to keep it on the down low?
So here's the thing: when people come in, I want them to experience not only, because runway, been there, done that, right? But this is like very like, oh my God, you could see the fabric, you could see the avatars, you could see, and I just feel like now that people quote unquote are socially distancing, but I don't know what's going to be like in August and September. That may have changed tremendously. I do want it to be sort of like how Van Gogh did in Paris, that whole installation.
Yeah.
I want a fashion experience like that.
That sounds amazing.
That's all I could say, Melissa, but we'll talk.
I love it. We'll
talk.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the example that you showed with the guy in the coat with the winter scene in the background, was so fascinating. It did kind of remind me of what Hong Kong Trade Development Council did last fall for their Hong Kong center stage, which is like Hong Kong Fashion Week, but it's not, but it's center stage. They had these beautiful backgrounds in a virtual backgrounds that were like out of this world space, all kinds of stuff. And then, they just filmed real models walking down a runway. So it was just like a green screen thing, but it certainly transported you as a viewer to a different place. And that certainly was the feeling I got watching your demo.
Oh, thank you. Because, I'm really, you flatter me because I did it with 10% of their budget. So,
That's
so I mean,
awesome.
it's not what you can do, right? I mean, sometimes the interns that work with us, right, send me these things about Epic Games doing these things, right? I'm like, they have 15 millions, oh, okay, they can do that, but can you show me what can you do with 5,000?
Yeah,
That I'd be impressed.
that's amazing.
Right. So,
Yeah, that's great.
so I think that, what I'm trying to communicate here is that for us, small, medium-sized fashion brand, you can do it too. I mean,
Yeah.
not only, big brands can do it, I mean, you can do it too. And, we are, finding ways for you to also, level the playing field for you to play in this too. That
Yeah,
you
love that. I love that. Well, thank you guys so much. I was a little intimidated by the subject, and I feel really excited about it now. And I hope everybody who attended got a lot out of it. And definitely, you can log on to Fashion Mingle. Use the chat to message anybody on our panel today. Definitely get connected with Jennifer if you have needs that relate to textiles and sourcing. And if you want advice on how to make your brand more sustainable, and then I mean, everybody should definitely be exploring how they can use Oh's 3D sampling technology. It sounds like it's a very good entry point for brands that want to get started on sustainable efforts in their brand. And then Samuel is obviously going to be keeping us on the forefront of what's happening large scale in the industry and what's possible. And I'm super excited, Samuel, for you to be leading us along as this.
Listen, can I say one thing?
Please do.
The technology that we have is being built for new designers because they don't have the responsibility of an inventory. We ship directly from the factory to the consumer based on their designs. And as I was talking about, what we're doing is monetizing their intellectual property in their digital form. So there's a lot of different directions that we're going. I was in a broad range, kind of giving you an overview of what we're doing, but we're also offering the retail stores that are having trouble with over inventory because of their buying patterns to be able to create their own labels for their own stores. So we're doing a lot of things that are going to retool the whole industry to bring it to a point to where we're not overproducing like we've been for the last 20 years. And that we also are letting the customer become more interactive in the process of their buy, as far as designing their own clothing and everything that they would like to do.
Well, it's fascinating, everything that you showed us and where the technology is going, where the future is going to be. And, I encourage everybody to reach out to Samuel and Jennifer and O. And obviously, Sharon, if you need help negotiating a contract in this area. And if you are a designer who would like to participate in Times Square Fashion Week, or Hampton's Fashion Week, and then also Kat is doing High Tech Moda. She had to get off because she's actually searching for venues right now. Definitely, you can reach out to them over the chat system, and they are getting ready to start taking designers for those programs in the fall. So, well, everybody have a great weekend. This is such an illuminating conversation, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Have a great week.
Everyone, thank you so much.
Bye.
have a good weekend.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.